Alright, welcome to my review of the Koowheel D3M second generation. So I explained in my unboxing that I'm going to link up here. Basically the Koowheel D3M second gen is the newest board. New features for it are bigger wheels, more powerful, faster of course, better range. Also on the underside you have the battery is swappable, so you can remove it and add another 20-30 kilometers of range to your ride. This is a big battery, so it says it's 5,500 mAh, so big capacity. The deck is made of 7 layers of maple, so it's not super flexible like a boosted board, but it still is flexible enough to have a comfortable ride. There are shock pads below both trucks, so you can have a better drive. I took apart the hub motors for fun, just to look into it, because I'm the kind of guy that takes things apart just to look at them. So the first thing I want to show you basically is the battery itself. The battery itself right here is holded on with a frame, a metal frame, and also rubber pads, probably to remove rattling noise that usually occurs when you run at high speeds and hit little bumps. So as explained in my unboxing, you basically remove the pin. Remember I discussed about this rubber thing here that was gonna be lost eventually? Well, you know what? I lost it. So I was riding one day and the rubber pad came off. I don't know when, I don't know how. And when I looked under my board, it was gone. So one thing I noticed about the battery thing, you basically have to remove the screws, as you might have guessed. But I noticed that if you pull back the rubber from the bolts here, it's much easier to pull the battery out. So there's already some kind of fabric on the underside so that it doesn't stick to the board. I don't think it helps. I think it tightens a bit too much the battery, so it's harder to remove. So, but still, after a couple of removal, the battery basically stripped some of the fabric. So as you can see here, the fabric is gone on some of the board. So that's a big battery. You can get a second one in your backpack, and when you're ready to ride, you can basically just swap it. So that works fine. So reinstallation is very simple. You just make sure you have it this side up where the two bolts are actually being screwed on. So this right side up, you just drop it in place like this, and you got your two screws. So once installed, you just have to make sure that you line up the two holes on the screws to make place for the little middle bar here, and that's it. Just put back the rubber like this and you're good to go. So you have a power button here, so by just pressing it you power the board. And the remote itself, basically this remote has a single button on top, which is the on-off button. You press 3 times to turn the remote on. You have a vibration, so that means that it's on. So you basically have lights. The middle one means the connection is on, the left one is the most important one, that's the battery in the board. And let me give you an example of this. So as you can see, it's quite fast. This board only has one speed. Basically, you start it up and that's what you have. But if you want to go faster, there's a secret mode. Well, not so secret, but people who have the previous generation know about this speed mode. You basically get your remote again, and you basically hit this 5 times. So once again, it vibrates. And as you can hear, it's much faster. This is the mode I prefer to drive on, basically because this allows me to reach over 34 kilometers per hour. So I know it's crazy fast, but whenever I want to reach that speed, basically I go on bike path, so it's safer. Also, in the city, that is a bit fast, I would say. So what I usually do is I do enter this mode, but I don't keep the throttle to the end. Like basically it's me who is gauging the speed, where opposed to the traffic and the conditions. So I don't like, sometimes I basically just get it like to a certain speed, which is faster than maybe the regular mode, but not as fast as what you would get with the regular speed. So the remote is pretty great. I love this little loop here. It allows me to keep a good grip on the remote without the need to actually gripping the remote strongly. I can be loose with my handle and just leave it like this, and it doesn't even drop. Also with gloves, because in Montreal it's pretty cold nowadays. Basically my gloves just fit in, and just with the gloves it's tight to my hands like that. So that's pretty great. I was afraid about the reverse button, this one here, coming into the way, and like while I'm riding, hitting it, and then, whoops, going backwards by mistake. No, I haven't hit the button once, so that's pretty great. Battery on the remote does go down fast. It has like a vibration motor inside. That's probably why. Other remotes usually last for weeks, if not more than a month. This one, after maybe a week of use, I had to charge it. So just a little heads up. The cable is in the box, the port is right here, so that's fine. In terms of experience, the riding of the board is pretty nice. It's super solid. It's a bit high, I would say. It's not as flexible as a boosted board. You can carve as easily on this big board as you can on a boosted board or a juice board, which both have a more flexible deck and really helps with the carving abilities. But still, if you want something that's stable, even at high speed, it's very stable. Also, the shape of the board, there's a little angle here, so that also helps when you turn, when you put all your weight on one side or the other to turn quickly. That keeps your feet on the board safely, so that's great. In terms of grip tape, it's pretty dirty, as you can see. There are two more in the boxes, like I showed in my unboxing. You can always remove it and replace it easily. The board is not waterproof per se, but I basically rode it not in the rain, but on wet pavement, and it went very well. Remember, we had this in the box, basically not to ride on wet pavement. Well, it's true that it's dangerous, because I was crossing across a little wooden bridge, and when I got to the end, I had to turn right, and I gave a little bit of a jolt to the throttle, and that threw me off the board basically, because the backside slipped on the wood plank and I fell on my back. So that was, yeah, trust the paper. So in terms of speed, I was able to reach 34, almost 35 kilometers per hour. You'll get somewhere around me the miles per hour. In terms of range though, I got the board and it was already pretty cold in Montreal, about -2 degrees or -5 degrees. So this also does not help with the battery life. I can go from my home to my workplace or back, but I wouldn't try it without charging during the day. So basically I'm able to do about 4 to 5 kilometers without the battery getting to the red zone. But please note that I ride in the speed mode, the fastest one. So that also puts a big strain on the battery. So that's why it doesn't last as long. If I put it back to the regular mode and I ride it, I can get either to work or back home, no problem. And I still have the green light lit. Whereas if I use the high speed mode, and also I carve a lot, so that also doesn't help. But basically, I will have to test this again in the spring when I have a lot more nice weather, because right now in Montreal it's about -12 and outside there's wind, there's snow and everything, so it's not really the best. So the thing that Koowheel could make better for this board for future generations, I would say basically the wheels are great, that's not a problem. The trucks are amazing. The bushings are also not bad. You can always adjust them to your liking, so that's great. I think the battery module, which is nice to have, to be able to basically replace the battery, is nice, but the thing that I don't like about it is that it's hard to remove and put back. It's nothing like the inboard, which is very simple. You just basically clip, remove, and put it back. This one you need to pull it out, and the little fabric below it, I don't know if it's because it got wet one day, but since that very first day, I had problem to take it out. You know, you need to force your way out. So it's not the best thing there is. I like the rubber on the side. I like that the controller board is hidden in this little box here, so that's pretty nice. Charging goes very well. You can charge it as you normally would with the high-speed charger that's included in the box. Yeah, so the bearings are great. They're not the best out there. They're not Bones bearings. I think there was an option with the D3X to get Bones bearing. They should make this standard on all their boards. This one should have benefited from that also. Yeah, overall it's a great board. I really like the remote, I like the board, I like the speed, I like the performance. I haven't tried to run it for long distance with a hotter weather. Right now it's cold, so it doesn't really help me for the range. I don't think I'm going to get that 27 kilometers that they promise, but perhaps I'm able to get 20, which means for me to be able to go to work and back without carrying my charger with me. So that for me would be the ideal scenario. That's when I ride the most, is when I go to work. So basically it's the perfect thing if I can get to work and back on a single charge. Alright, so that's it for my review of the Koowheel D3M 2nd generation. Leave a comment below if you have any questions. A thumbs up if you like it, sub if you loved it. So have a nice day.